Good morning. Welcome to another episode of Xa Talk Show. Today is June 13th, 2019, 3 o'clock, 20 minutes p.m. California time. Now let me switch my audio device because it was not set up correctly. So I'll go silent for a minute. I'm back. The OBS just crashed. I'm back. The OBS just crashed. I'm back. The OBS just crashed. Let's see if that's working. Okay, finally it's working. Now the Mac version of OBS crashes often when you change the settings. I'm not sure why, but so we got one person watching. Good morning. So let me know. Type your comments or opinions, and let me know what topics to talk about. I just woke up today. I woke up this morning and I just slept for 2 hours. And as you know, I don't have a schedule. I don't have a regular schedule. My sleeping time is like around the clock. This has been true for 20 plus years. So today's topic is going to be okay, so let's see. There are three possible topics. Talk about some topic. Okay. One thing we can do is that we're gonna talk about some of the topics listed here. I mean, this list is getting long. I whenever I thought of something, I paste it here. But now this list is pretty long. Maybe we should clear it up. And okay, and so that's pick a topic here, and we'll do that. So the other option is emacs real-time modify command log to show query keys. So let me show you what that is about. So let me shrink this window so you can see my window, and let me call a command. So this is emacs. So let's call xa. So actually, let's go to the mod. Okay. Nah, not that. Shit, mistake. Let's open the file .emacs alpha. Okay, let's just go to .emacs, then go to alpha. Yes, that's right. So log, there is, oh wait, I deleted that yesterday by mistake. Okay, I need to install command-log-mod, so let's do that. List packages. So this is becoming a Emacs demo. List packages, so we see all the packages. Actually, wait, command-log-mod is not here. Actually, it is in, let's see, xa start command log. That's right. And let's do describe function. Go to the definition of the command. It's right over there. And let's show that in this window. So this is the command I call to start the command log mod. Why do I write a command to start it? Because the mod is the way to start the mod is complicated and not intuitive. Let me show you the source code. Command log mod, describe function, command log mod. Okay, no matches. Let's wait. Let's go to my emacs init directory. Let's search for it. Log. So I think it is there. So why does it say let's try it again. Mx command-log-mod is not a valid command name. Oh, because I haven't loaded it, of course. Okay, let's start command-log-mod then. Start command-log-mod. Okay, now it's started. So now every commands I call, every key I press, you will see the command code on the left window. That is the purpose of command-log-mod. It shows all the emacs commands you call. So it's useful when you do a demo. So other people can see the commands and find it and use it. Now there is several problems with this mod. So let's look at that. That is why I have a wrapper to my own command wrapper to start the mod. Let me explain what is the problem. So let's go to the files, the source code. So this is the command log mod. It's 370 lines, about 300 lines. So here's the instruction to begin it. Actually, I wrote a little instruction here. First, you mx command log mod to start the mod. Then, if you want the commands to show up, doesn't matter what buffer you are in, then you want to start global. So then you have to call mx global command log mod. Okay. You cannot call this command directly without calling command log mod first. So this is a little bit complexity. You have to always begin with command log mod, then mx global command log mod. Now then you need to show the buffer that shows the commands. So you need to call mx clm / open command log buffer. Then it will show this buffer, the window on the left you see. You see how that is a problem? There are several problems here. First of all, we mentioned that you cannot call global command log mod first without calling command log mod. That's not intuitive because by the name definition, by the name you thought global command mod should do it, but not really. You get errors, because if this is your first time, then you get mysterious errors. Then you take an hour or something to find out what's going on. Then you have to call this command to show the command log mod buffer. And notice this command is got clm prefix, so the full name is clm / open command mod log buffer. That's just inconsistent and too complex. Like what the fuck is clm? Okay, so far we have two problems. Calling global command log mod doesn't work, and the show buffer command log mod, the show buffer command is complicated. It's got this clm open command log mod buffer. It's bad because it's a real problem. It's not just a theoretical problem because this command, people may think this came from another package. The command names are not consistent. That's two problems, but that's not all. This buffer, this buffer that shows the command log is not a normal buffer. You cannot switch to it. For example, I go to I list buffer, not that. I list buffer. What? What? Yeah, I list buffer, and it shows all my buffers here. and but you do not see a buffer named command log. So if I search command log, it's not there. So that is another problem. It's not a normal buffer. You cannot just close it and switch to it. So it's some kind of hidden buffer or something like that. So several problems with this package. Uh, so 5 years ago I tried to write it from scratch, but I wasn't successful after after 20 minutes. There is some issue, but it's not a big issue. I can work through, but I didn't finish since there's already this one that works kind of. I mean, it works. Yeah, it does. So I want to rewrite this package. I mean, but it takes time. It'll take a few hours, 3 hours, something like that. So by the way, this package is written by this guy, photo.org. I'm thinking if that is the 4doc guy. Let's check. lambda.folder.org. So apparently this is his home page, and this is this guy, Michael Weber, Silicon Valley, California. So Folder pursues the proliferation of functional programming industry and teaching. Oh, I think looks like that's the 4doc guy. Now, if you don't know what is a 4doc, let me show you. FOLDOC. It is a something dictionary of computing. There, computing dictionary. Now this dictionary is ancient. This is a great resource. This one and the Jargon file, and before Wikipedia, Wikipedia began in 2003 or something like that. And when Wikipedia began, basically it copied wholesale everything in 4doc and everything in Jargon file. Because these are open source. I think they are. There's a license somewhere. Denise Howie, copyright Denise Howie. Okay, so 4doc is created by Denise Howie, right? Yeah, so it's open license, GNU free documentation license. Yeah, so in the beginning Wikipedia copied everything of 4doc and the Jargon file. But so anyway, so this is before Wikipedia, and it's very useful. This 4doc dictionary covers functional programming in particular. So before there's Wikipedia, remember this is before 2003. So before Wikipedia, so when you want to know about functional programming, Haskell was not popular yet. But you read here 4doc. It has entry for Haskell, for lazy pure functional. What does it mean? What does query mean? Functional programming, algebraic data types, pattern matching. All these functional programming goodies you learn about from 4doc, especially 4doc. Now there are also the Jargon file also covers some of the functional programming stuff, but not much. Mostly it's 4doc. So let's see if it says something about Java. Let's say check. It does have. Okay. So when you read 4doc, it's like you are reading history. You can see when you read, just type some articles. So let's say if it has entries for memory. Okay, memory. These days usually used synonymously with random access memory or read-only memory. but in a general sense, it can be any device that can hold data in machine readable format. Yeah, okay, so this is last updated 1996. Then you have memoization. Now, if you don't know what is memoization, that means a function, when you call a function, given some number, as argument, it returns a value. Sometimes it's expensive to call the function, meaning that the function will take a long time to compute. But once you get the answer, sometimes you need to call the function again with that particular argument. But every time you do, the function start to compute it again. Takes a long time. So memoization is a trick such that every time a function is called with a particular argument, once it's called, the result is saved. So next time you call the function again with the same argument, the result comes up immediately. So it saves computing time. That is what memoization is for. And memoization came from primarily functional programming languages background, because in functional programming you deal with functions, because otherwise, if not functional programming, usually you just save result in a global variable, in Java and all those languages. Anyway, so it can also be called memo function. I didn't know that. So anyway, 4-dot. So I was saying, when you read 4-dot, you can get a sense of kind of you can get, you look at the writing style, the attitude, the things between the lines. You can get things of the 1990s. The Jargon file, by the way, the Jargon file, which is today also known as Hacker's Dictionary, it is now maintained by Eric Raymond, ESR, the guy who wrote Cathedral and Bazaar. Not a very good guy. So the Jargon file, but Jargon file began in MIT, among the hackers, so-called hackers, the classic hackers of Richard Stallman generation at MIT, and MIT and Stanford Lisp communities mostly. So the Jargon file is even before the Unix stuff, before the Unix operating system. So you can see the Wikipedia entry. It says the Jargon file is a glossary and usage dictionary of slang used by computer programmers. The original Jargon file was a collection of terms from technical cultures such as the MIT AI Lab, the Stanford AI Lab, and others of the old ARPANET AI Lisp PDP-10 communities, including both Baronek and Newman, Carnegie Mellon University, and Worcester Polytechnic Institute. It was published in paperback form in 1983 as the Hacker's Dictionary, edited by Guy Steele. Revised in 1991 as the New Hacker's Dictionary, edited by Eric S. Raymond, the third edition published in 1996. So, back in the 1990s, the Jargon file, I read basically the entirety of it, the entire thing. To be safe, maybe let's say 70%, just to be sure I'm not exaggerating. I'm pretty sure, I read the whole thing, more than 70% is not wrong. So anyway, the Jargon file, but I did not realize until later, by the time I read it, it's from Eric S. Raymond. It's online. It's from his website. I didn't know the history of it, and but until later in 2000s, I learned a lot. So the jargon file is among it began in Lisp communities, MIT and Stanford Lisp communities, and it turns out when Eric Raymond, when he took over, he he is a questionable guy, morally questionable. He edited it, and to his liking, to it, so it becomes a Unix, the Unix oriented jargon file, in favor of the Unix Fox. So I didn't know that, and I learned later about that. So that's the jargon file, and by the way, I you can also you can get the whole thing. There's a download. You can get the early version. You can get the latest version before the Eric S. Raymond took over. So actually, I have a copy on my website, so, computer blog. So you can see this is my programming blog. Search for jargon. I recently added it. So let's search for, so there it is, jargon. So let's show in browser here, jargon. So Unicode. So I have this entry made in May 22nd. You can see Unicode code bug and original jargon file. So the Unicode, this is interesting in Unicode. So Unicode has this character. It looks like a caterpillar, but the character name is named bug. Okay, so you can see here is the character. It's named the bug. Unicode code, there's a character named bug. But however, in every browser and Mac OS or Microsoft Windows, it shows as a worm, kind of a caterpillar or a worm. So that so that is doesn't seem right. uh, and but so that's one interesting thing. Now the other interesting thing is of the word bug. As you know, in programming, bug means a defect, or something is wrong. And there is always interesting how about the etymology of that jargon, bug. How did the word bug came to be known as some kind of a defect? Um, and in jargon file, so basically nobody knows actually. But in jargon file, there's an entry. So this is jargon file. This is jargon file 1983, edited by Guy Steele. Good morning, FMS. So in jargon file, it says bug noun, a mistake or problem, possibly simple, possibly very deep, an unwanted and unintended property, characteristic, or behavior. Example: there's a bug in the editor. It writes things out backward. Okay. Another example: the system crashed because of a hardware bug. Okay. So that's and there's more to the in the entry. Uh, but what we are interested is the history, the etymology. How did the word become to mean bug? It says here somewhere. Okay, here it says some say this term came from telephone company usage. Example: bugs in a telephone cable were blamed for noisy lines. However, computer scientist Grace Hopper has repeatedly been heard to claim that the usage of the term in computer science comes from a story concerning actual bugs found wedged in an early manufacturing in an early more functioning computer. In any case, in hackers' slang, the word almost never refers to insects. Here is a plausible conversation that never actually happened. This ant farm has a bug. What do you mean? There aren't even any aunts in it. That's the bug. Okay, so they say, so even the Jargon file back in 1983 do not know how the bug came to mean defect. However, the Grace Hopper says, Grace Hopper turns out she is a one of the early computer programmer. Like today, the feminist tries to mention her all the time. So anyway, she claims it appears that she repeatedly has been claiming that the bug came to mean defect because in a computer actually they found a bug, actual insect that caused the malfunction. So yeah, that is the etymology of the bug. By the way, so etymology and jargons, they are interesting. They are part of this properly they are study of linguistics. If you if you are interested in these kind of things, word history, and their common use jargons, where they came from, the change, the evolution of their meaning. So if you are interested in this kind of things, studying these kind of things, that is, but you are studying linguistics, a particular field of linguistics, um, and so here we are talking about etymology. I mean the history of a word or jargon. But now it's also interesting because now do you remember Google's repository? Before GitHub became popular and wiped out everything else, there are several other websites, source code repositories, and one of them is called Google Code. Now this is around 2009. So let's go to Google Code. Now we have been digressing, but since we don't have a topic, so let's just go with the flow. Google Code. Okay. Now you might remember Google Code, which is a repository for code, but they shut it down in 2016. So it's from 2006 to 2016. Google is uh, known for shutting down their stuff, opening and shutting down stuff. So Google Code, now they have archive. So Google Code was a code repository for 10 years. Uh, Now in Google Code, it works just like a GitHub, okay? Um, Except back then you also Git is not the only thing. You also support CVS, Mercury, SVN, different uh, code versioning systems. So I was using Google Code for like 7 years for the Ergo Emacs project. In fact, I think you can still find it. Google Code Ergo Emacs. Ergo Emacs was a Emacs distribution, just like today's SpaceMax. You download a binary, it contains everything. You don't have to worry about. So Ergo Emacs, let's see if I can find, there it is, Google Code Archive, Ergo Emacs. So this is what my my project looks like back then. Yeah. So Ergo Emacs, eventually we shut it down. Well, I shut it. Yeah, we shut it down. It's mostly me and one other guy, David Capello. Okay. He so we he was here sometimes. He's a great guy, David Capello. He's on Twitter. And so we shut it down because when you run this project, you got questions every day, but you you work on it every day, but no money. That's open source, and people ask you questions, bug you all the time. So Ergo Emacs, but eventually, so we shut it down. Eventually, the Ergo Emacs contains the main thing about Ergo Emacs is the Ergo Emacs mod. a package. That's the major package because that is the key binding system for Emacs. It has very efficient key binding system. So Ergo Emacs died, but the Ergo Emacs mod lives on. That mod is still being maintained. But the I passed on that mod to Matt. There's another guy on GitHub. You can just go to GitHub Ergo Emacs. So he has been the leader of Ergo Emacs mod for the past 7 years or so. And also he rewrote. Not just the maintainer. He basically essentially rewrote the whole thing almost. So he's maintaining that. Then while I went on to I went on to do the stuff like keys. So that's Ergo Emacs. Now, why are we talking about Google Code? Because in Google Code you find this interesting because when you go to issues, you see they don't call their issues bugs. Like normally everywhere in every bug database or repository or stuff, programmers they just call it bugs. Bug ID, bug. We are so used to that. But in Google Code, they do not they do not call it bug. The proper word is issue. You see issues. Let's look at some of them. Let's say 145. Ergo Emacs issue number 145. So so this is interesting because this is about linguistics. Well, it's about word usage. And you can and also you can see a kind of attitude. The Google people for some reason, you don't know who decided. Is it just one guy who designed the site and he says, or she, says that we must stick, we must use the word issues instead of bugs. Is it one guy or was it the team, or maybe was it because there's a culture within Google that they always call bugs issues? Is that, maybe it's because of that? We don't know. But that the interesting thing is, you see, this group of people, they are choosing to use the word issues instead of bug for some reason. Yeah, and so that's very interesting because for a while because from a certain logical point of view, issues is the proper word. Well, kind of. Almost it's somewhat a better, not necessarily, but in some sense, it's a better word because when you say bugs, well, it's a what do you mean bug? It was an insect, because it was not proper. It was like a slang or jargon. But we also must remember that almost like tons of words, half of our words, all came from jargons or slangs or some borrowed things. If you really want to be, tracing, the logical ways of the word, you cannot because every word has a long history. They change and evolve, and most of them you don't even know. Like today, you don't even know where they came from. Like okay, this is okay, this is not okay. That the use of issues for the word bug is not okay. That's the millennial generation, the social justice types. They like to say something is this is okay, this is not okay. As if they lost. They don't have the ability to, it's like two things. They don't have the ability to say the right word, and it seems like they are unable to say anything that is, slightly negative. So they have to say this is okay and not okay. That's an example of another interesting thing about the word usage. Uh, yeah. Then this is okay. This is not okay. So anyway, the issues. So So yeah, so in some sense, issues is maybe a better word than bug. Um, but not really, because there are many reasons against using the word issues as well. Because issue first of all is a word that requires more advanced education. Bug, everyone understand. It's an insect. Any children, it's a primitive word. People 2,000 years ago will understand what is a bug. Because it's a primitive. It's within. But issue is getting it's getting abstract. You require elite education. You require this thing. There's an abstract idea of an issue, and but also issue means lots of things. Um, issue could mean lots of things. It means a problem. It means let's look up issue. um, okay, issue. So let's look up dictionary. So let's magnify. You see, so issue means a point or matter of discussion, a point or matter of discussion, debate or dispute, a matter of public concern, a misgiving, objection or complaint. Okay, that's one. Then two, a problem or difficulty, a personal problem. Okay. Three, the act of circulating, distributing, or publishing by a business, government, or organization. Right. That's like magazine issue number 3. An item or set of items, stamps or coins made available at one time by a business, government, or organization. That's right. Stamps, they have issues like a collection. It's like a special issue. Then okay, so and so on. And four, the act of an instance of flowing, passing, or giving out. Uh, for example, where the lake gives issue to its waters. Okay, that's one of the rare meaning of the word issue. So it means the act or an instance of flowing, passing, or giving out. A place of egress, an outlet, a lake with no issue to the sea. Okay, that's a new that's a new meaning to me. So issue. So and there's more, 5 and 6. So you see, the word issue can mean quite a lot of things, and it's also an advanced abstract word. So yeah, so eventually, I don't think issue is a better word. The word bug is simple. Um, and it's short, simple, and every children understand. Even though bug means something else in programming, it means a problem, a defect, but people know, people can make the connection when you use a bug. Even though they do not know, you know, even they do not know bug means defect in software, but any person, when if you are a programmer, if you are in software context, when you see the word bug, it's an insect, you will quickly pick up what it means. So bug is actually more effective and uh, effective word, I think, than issue. So that's interesting by way into linguistics, etymology, jargon, pragmatics, but there's also a branch of linguistics called pragmatics. I believe that's the name. Let's search for it. Pragmatics. What it means is that how people use language in real world. Like in real world, when you say something, it does not mean the same thing when it's written out. Often it does not. Pragmatics. So there's a Wikipedia article. Let's see if that's the right article. So how many people are watching now? 2 people. Okay. So what's up, FMS? So pragmatics. So Wikipedia says pragmatics is a subfield of linguistics and semiotics that studies the ways in which context contribute to meaning. Yeah, that's what it is. Pragmatics encompasses speech act theory. That's right. Conversational implicature, talk in interaction, and other approaches to language behavior in philosophy, sociology, linguistics, and anthropology. Okay, yeah, that's basically what pragmatics is. You study, the real world way people use words and sentences, and in fact, our discussion about issue and bug is part of it. It's kind of is part of it. By the way, there's a new word here, semiotics. I don't know what the I'm not familiar with that. Let's look it up. Semiotics. It probably means semantics or something. So semiotics, also called semiotic studies, is the study of sign process. It includes the study of signs and sign processes, indication, designation, likeness, analogy, allegory, metonymy, metaphor, symbolism, signification, and communication. It is not to be confused with the Saussurian tradition called semiology, which is a subset of semiotics. The semiotic tradition explores the study of signs and symbols as a significant part of communications. Different from linguistics, semiotics also studies non-linguistic sign systems. Now, this topic, I think, to me, I think it's questionable. The thing about there are several things here. First of all, Wikipedia is not to be trusted at all times. Okay, you must know that Wikipedia, especially on any subjects that's in the news, that's political subject or in the news, any subject in the news in the past 1 year, the corresponding Wikipedia article, you cannot trust it. Okay, I'm giving you a guide, a advice, a kind of advice on which article you can trust in Wikipedia. So anything mentioned in the news, any person names, anything in the news that you know you cannot trust the Wikipedia. Okay, you can read it, but often it's heavily biased. So that's one thing. Now, on very obscure technical articles, academic subjects such as mathematics, linguistics, typically you can trust it. You can trust what Wikipedia says. For example, linguistics, pragmatics. But of course, not okay. So you can trust. So these semiotics, I can kind of trust it, um, but you don't necessarily want to believe it because you know in academia, throughout history, 100 years, let's say, there are many subjects, even academia subjects, and even among sciences, scientific subjects, they come and go. Some of the ideas are just questionable. So what I'm saying is that this article about semiotic is questionable to me. Okay, uh, it's like, so what I mean by questionable, by that I mean this subject may not actually have uh, that much of practicality. Okay, maybe it's just a theory by some Joe, by some single guy. Often it happens like that. Some single, you know, academic, you know, invented. He just invented a whole thing. That happens often. Then once he died, the whole subject went away. Nobody ever mentions it again. That happens often, and we have a lot of examples in history, in philosophy, and especially in philosophy. Uh, so sometimes it's not practical. It's not. It's just not something useful. Or sometimes it's just studied by a group of people. Not it's not widely accepted. So anyway, I don't know for sure, but I think semiotic is one of them. It's not significant thing. It's not. Um, by the way, there are also a lot of examples in computers. In computing, for example, I can give you examples of. Um, let's see, cyberspace. Now I don't remember the term, but from the cyberspace article, we can find the person and the term. So, good morning, FMS. So FMS, you are from Midland, UK, right? Middle UK. So what time is UK now? So let me see. 1 1 1 a.m. Is that right? So we are looking at the cyberspace Wikipedia article, and you can see cybernetics. Uh, Cybernetics article, right? So UK is midnight. Okay, so basically 8 hours ahead from where I live. California is like behind. California is like behind the times. Everyone is advanced. California is behind. Hawaii is further behind. Uh, so cybernetics. Oh my God, the internet is so slow. So yeah, I'm trying to give you some examples in related, some computer programming related subjects that I think are kind of pseudoscience or wacko, or insignificant. So I'm trying to find the terms, but the Wikipedia is not coming up. Anyways, the Wikipedia article on cybernetic is not coming up. But anyway, cybernetic is one of the term. When you read Wikipedia, you'll see that, oh, it's a uh, it's a mixed, exit page reload. It's a mixed study, multidiscipline study about information science, mathematics, uh, computer science, and linguistics, or something like that, like a mixed bowl of things. And they talk about things. I think that's all bullshit. Okay, that's that's just something of no significance. Uh, okay, the Wikipedia article on this page is not coming up, and in fact, the Google Chrome says uh, page unresponsive. Why is that? That's interesting. Okay, Google do not want me to read the cybernetics page. Google's AI is very advanced. Okay, okay, there it is, cybernetics. So cybernetics, the Wikipedia article says cybernetics is a transdisciplinary. What the fuck? Is a transdisciplinary approach for exploring regulatory systems their structures, constraints, and possibilities. And Norbert Wiener defined cybernetics in 1948 as a scientific study of control and communication in the animal and the machine. In other words, it is a scientific study of how humans, animals, and machines control and communicate with each other. Now, this is a pseudoscience. Fuck. I don't know who is this. No, Norbert Wiener is guy is. And note the word transdisciplinary. It's like transdiscipline. It's a transcendental. It's like we are reaching singularities. By the way, lots of things you read about singularity, it's all bullshit. Okay, it's like a singularity. This pseudoscience always have lots of dramatic jargons. Cybernetics, for example, cybernetics, singularity. Um, these kind of words. So apparently there is a something on this page, cybernetics, that causes Chrome to not load it. But anyway, so I think cybernetics and is bullshit. It's kind of pseudoscience. Okay, it's kind of mixed ball. So that's an example. And also, let me show you. Let me show you a page. Okay, that keeps crashing. Let's just close it. Let me show you a page. Xali multi. Okay, let's go to Xali page. Okay, Xali info. Xali code. Xali.info. Then we are going to go to programming. Then we are going to go into web spam. Then we are going to go into this article. World Multi-Conference on Systematic. Let me start over. World Multi-Conference on Systemics, Cybernetics, and Informatics. this this is a spam email. There are a lot of fake conferences. Well, not really fake, but they make money. They in academia, conference is a big thing. Like every year, you go to conferences. Conferences in different cities. It's one of the things that academics do. It's very inefficient, and half of the time it's a fraud. It functions like half of the time it functions like a vacation. Not just like you can travel to places, and of course the money came from grants and from the university and or government. Basically the taxpayers money. So as a professor, you go around conferences. By the way, I'm not saying this as a I mean it's just a thing they do. Okay, and it's fairly inefficient and not much of a need. Not at least not the way they are doing it. Today. But anyway, that's almost like a that's just a thing. Going on. You cannot stop it. It's like when you have a government or country or culture, there are things you guys do. You cannot change it in one day. It just it's a big trend. It just keeps moving. So one of the things. So there are conferences. The academicians go to, and then there are also fraud conferences. So what they do is there are people they generate conferences. They tell you to submit papers. They tell you to pay. So you pay them Oh, and they pay, you pay them. So if I'm a professor, okay, I received this email, they send me like every year, with titles such as, World Multi-Conference on Systemics, Cybernetics, and Informatics. These kind of words happens often with these fake, pseudoscientific science things. And so, if I'm a professor, so I got this email and say, oh, so suppose they are in where Orlando, Florida this year, okay. So, oh, I think to myself, oh, I haven't been to that city before. It might be nice for me to visit. So, I tell my assistant to send the mail to the university, and so the university pays it, pays whatever this organization requires, so I can visit, and this organization, what is it? It's like this WMSCI. It's a fraud. By the way, you can check Wikipedia on this org. They have, lots of, their sole goal. I mean, they are not about sciences, or, their goal is just, you know spam email all the professors, and get them to pay. and and also, oh yeah, there are people who wrote fake articles and submit with payment, of course, to this organization, and got published, like computer generated random fake articles about these, systemics, cybernetics, and informatics. So anyway, that's about spam. Okay, that's part of the. So we were talking about some sciences that's kind of pseudoscience. Now another one, that's, let me give you another example of pseudoscience, and a lot of programmers are following, too. Synergetics. These pseudoscience always have these fancy jargons. Synergetics. This synergetics is started by this buckyball guy. This, which I think is a scammer, a con artist, some kind of, okay, not fully, but a lot of programmers are just following these people. Okay, Wikipedia has got a problems, right? Uh, it's not coming up. Let me try Firefox then. Okay, Firefox, no JavaScript comes up right away. Maybe Wikipedia's got some JavaScript fuck up. So anyway, you go to synergetics. Synergetics is a empirical study of systems in transformation, with an emphasis on total system behavior, unpredicted by the behavior of any isolated components, including humanity's role as both participants and observer. That is the problem. That is the source of the problem. They start to drag in humanities. So anyway, so there's this, synergetics, and it's created by this Buckminster Fuller fuck. In my opinion, he's a kind of a not a, he's a snake oil, sailor. Not technically a con artist, or a scammer, but something like that. They like to spread something questionable. That's my opinion. Okay, so he's most well known for being created the geodesic dome, so-called geodesic dome. By the way, it's a very bad jargon. Geodesic, idiot, is idiots. Geodesic, my ass. It's not about geodesic at all. Geodesic has a very specific meaning in mathematics. In geometry, geodesic means the shortest distance between 2 points, in a particular space, a manifold, which is not usually straight lines, because how do you define straight line? On a ball, you don't have a straight line. If the ball, like on the Earth, so the the shortest path between two cities is not actually a straight line, because we are on Earth. Earth is round, so it's actually curved somewhat if you look at the 3D space. But however, on the surface itself, it is a straight line. So anyway, geodesic, the word geodesic is the technical meaning is that it means the shortest distance between 2 points in geometry. And so the geodesic dome is basically a polyhedron, regular polyhedron dome. Okay, so anyway, I digressed. So anyway, geodesic, the Buckminster Fuller guy he made the geodesic dome, the ball dome popular, which is great. This is a great structure. By the way, anyway, we are not going to go into details. So I'm just giving you some examples of something I consider quasi-science or pseudoscience. Okay, it's more proper to call them quasi-science. Again, there's another interesting thing about jargons. Jargons, you have pseudoscience, you have quasi-science. Now, pseudoscience, the difference is that pseudoscience usually means it's just fake. It's a scam. It's illegal. Okay, not always so, but it's just fake. That's you call it pseudoscience. Now, quasi science is like this is something that's it's questionable. It's some maybe some scientists believe it, some doesn't. It's like on the borderline. That's what you call quasi science. So, in my opinion, this Buckminster Fuller guy, and what all his creations, these synergetics fuck is quasi science. Okay, questionable. And the same thing applies to the cybernetics thing, the cybernetics, the semiotics. uh, they are kind of like quasi science to me, okay, in my opinion. And cybernetics, and especially it's associated with this guy. Suppose I think he won a Nobel or something. There's this guy. But anyway, so yeah, so that's an interesting digression. So let's get back to. So we were talking about jargons, the jargon file, the Google's use of the word issue versus bug, the linguistic branch called pragmatics. Then we go back to the jargon file and the free online dictionary of computing for doc. Then back to the emacs command mod. Oh, okay. So then back to the emacs command mod. I think we digressed a lot. And so anyway, so okay, so I think that's it for today. So what's up, FMS? Any questions or anything, comments? Okay, then that's it for today. Thank you guys for watching. Thank you, FMS, and we all hope to see you next time. Let's see if there's anything I want to cover, and okay, bye.